Hey everyone, Shiv here. So, recently, a lot of discussion's been going around about Swiss tournaments. Shiv, when are you going to bring back Swiss tournaments? Oh my God, I miss all those Swiss tournaments. You should be doing this again. That was so much fun. Why'd you stop? Okay. All right. So, I'm going to break this down. Did the Swiss tournaments at Mana Grind. Before that, I was doing Magic the Gathering. Swiss tournaments was a DCI. Also did some stuff for Warhammer 40K and Battlefleet Gothic as a rogue trader. I can sit here and list qualifications all day long. It's kind of pointless. All right, so getting back to the actual topic here. All right, at Mana Grind, we had Swiss tournaments. We were doing it before the game was even out using Cockatrice Simulator. Talk about tryharders and hardcore there. But that's what we did. We had a good time with that. And then when the game came out, we continued it. We was like, hey, we've got a live game. Let's use it. Let's do this. And we did. And we showed you could do this quite easily. We proved concept tournaments for this game would be easy to do. And then Blizzard gave us spectator mode, which would have made advertising and publicizing these events so much easier. If only they would have done this in the beginning. Moving on. So Mana Grind, we established Swiss, and we had it for a bit, and it was great. And then we walked away from it for a bit, and actually basically handed the reins over our weekend tournaments to MLG. People didn't like that, myself included. So I took the initiative of basically bringing back Swiss tournaments. And I didn't just bring back one Swiss tournament. I didn't just bring back two. I was running 4 of them a week at one point between NA and EU. And I will tell you right now, that was exhausting to me. That was very exhausting to me. Now, at times, I had staff. I did. I had people who wanted to help, wanted to do things, and that was great. It was. But a lot of the time, didn't have them. Or I still had to be there. So it was a huge time sink and resource sink for me, and it is something that I'm kind of willing to reinvest in lightly, but at the same time, I cannot put nearly as much time as I did into it before. Yes, I'm sorry, putting 60 hours in a week in tournaments. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't think I can handle that. Not with what I'm doing these days. But some, yes, I can. Now, there are a couple of things that are really important to consider when you're talking about doing Swiss tournaments in a game like Hearthstone. There's resources you're going to need. And I'm going to state this right now. If I could get some of these resources and have them available, we could get this going. We could get Swiss tournaments back in action. And I have no problem running that shit. I have no problem designing that shit. I have no problem training people to be able to do it on their own. I have no problem with this. I really don't. So let's cover this and just put it out there. 1, you need VoIP. Now, you could get away with using Skype groups and this, that, and the other, and yeah, that kind of works, but inherently, voice is better than written because shit happens, and sometimes you need an instant response from a person, and if they're on the VoIP, it's a lot easier. And if they don't respond within a certain amount of time on VoIP, it's a whole lot simpler to make a ruling and move on. With a Skype group chat, the problem is so many people will be talking at once that somebody may miss something. And then you've actually got to go message that person, and you've got to add people, and logistically, it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare all around, guys. It's not worth it not to have a VoIP. So I would have to say, if you really want a Swiss tournament, need a VoIP. Now, here's where that gets interesting. You need a VoIP that can support at minimum 200 people. And probably it'd be better to have more than that because, well, you always want to expect your community to grow. So you're going to need a pretty big VoIP system. That's like TeamSpeak, Mumble, this, that. Now, there are free ones out there that are very, 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 very horrible, but they do exist. All right. Now, the next thing you really have to consider here is prize support. Now, at Mana Grind, we ran most of those tournaments without a single bit of prize support. Almost all of the prize support was donated, except for a limited engagement with another organization where they were actually providing us with some prize support, which was kind of cool, but moving on past that. And yeah, you really need prize support. I know some people are like, oh, I just like to play and compete. I applaud you, and I love you for that. But the reality is players want to feel rewarded for the time and effort they invest in a competition. All right. It was a point where bragging rights actually were kind of a cool thing. It let you know who, had an idea of how to play this game and who was just kind of meh. But at the same time, bragging rights is one thing, money is another, or a prize is another. It builds something there, you know? So yeah, players are damn near demanding of prize support, and you can kind of look at like the ESL tournaments; they have prize support. Zotac has prize. All of these little smaller tournaments, not the big cash money, $1,000+ tournaments, have prize support of some degree or another. So in Swiss, you're going to need it because, as we're about to discuss, it's a huge time investment. Now, time. Holy shit, does Swiss take a long ass time to fucking play out. I am not even kidding this. Every time I'm consulted about doing a tournament, this, that, and the other, or having some sort of open format or whatever, they always bring up Swiss as the possible medium for it. Here's where this gets really fucked up. Swiss inherently takes a long ass time. And here's why. In a Swiss tournament, depending on the amount of players there are, will determine the amount of rounds there are. Now, after the set of rounds are over, you generally are going to want to have a top cut to determine who the best of the best is off that. Well, here's where that's funny. If you're playing a best of one for the Swiss portion of it, that's give or take 15 minutes at minimum to 45 minutes at maximum gameplay time. Now, I say 45 minutes only because not everybody starts at the same time. Somebody had to go use the bathroom, blah, 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 blah. Excuses, 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 excuses. A ton of shit. All right? So you could be looking at 45 minutes at max, but the reality is it's going to be closer to 30 minutes a round. Okay, so figure on an average of 8-round tournament, which, is very feasibly possible. All right? That's like 64 players easily. That is 4 hours right there, just for the Swiss portion of it alone. Now, as you go into the top cut, you're definitely going to want to move past a best of one, so it's going to become best of 3. Now, here's where it goes and increases in time again. All right, each one of those matches is going to take 30 to an hour and a half. All right, if it goes to 3 rounds. You always have to expect the longest scenario in these things. All right, so let's just say with the top 8, you're talking 8, 4, and then the final 2. So that's 3 rounds of that. That's another 4.5 hours possible. So 8-hour tournament, that's a huge time investment for people. Yes, of course, a majority of them aren't going to be playing that long, but those who are in there, really, they deserve something for that kind of fortitude, that dedication. And in all honesty, I want to be able to provide that for them in a tournament. I wish I could do it out of pocket. I really do. But I'm poor as fuck, guys. Really, I am. I'm still trying to figure out a way of getting a new video card. Because this one's old and archaic. But players deserve to be rewarded for the effort. And I think that's something that I would almost have to require if I'm going to bring back a Swiss tournament. But I really want Swiss to come back. I thought it was really healthy for the community. It built bonds amongst players, and not just amongst players, but amongst staff and players, staff and staff. I still talk to a great amount of people that either participated in or were part of those tournaments in the staffing aspect. They are some of the greatest people I've ever met. Friendships were formed. And at the end of the day, I think that's really good. That's what a community is about. It's forming bonds, building friendships. All right. Now, I would like to be able to reward people for the efforts they put out. I really would. But again, I don't have resources. I don't. When we were doing all this Swiss stuff beforehand, corporate sponsorships and things of that nature, they weren't really ready to invest in Hearthstone because it wasn't a proven thing yet. Some people did venture out there and kind of showed it was working and they could do it. And yeah, nowadays I feel that it might be a little bit easier to get that from those sponsors. It might be. And it's definitely something worth looking into. And I honestly feel that it doesn't have to be a huge tournament. It doesn't have to be a huge $1,000 payout or whatever. Even something that had $100 prize pool for first, second, and third. That could be something right there, and something I would really like to see. But again, I do not have the resources. But you might. You might actually have the connections. You might actually have the ability to arrange all this. And if you do, cool. Or if you'd like to help, let me know. All right? If you need help, anything, let me know. I can easily help and guide you and assist this. But to be honest, I want this to come back. I don't care if it's me or it's somebody else. It needs to come back. The community needs it. All right? So that's about it, guys. Really. I don't really know how else to put it. I have the time to invest in this, and I know others do as well. And I think that's important to know, that others are willing to put forth the time. But we just need to get it all organized. So I'm putting this out as a call to action. If you really want these things to get together, then let's put our heads together. Contact me, leave me comments, leave me messages. Well, let's see what we can get going. All right? There we go. Till next time, this is Shiv saying thank you very much. Have a nice day, and may Iron Jesus bless you.